Radio. And again, our website's realnewsradio.com. Every year, the closest date to April 19th, we do a Remember Waco special that will be next week, remembering the atrocities where the government went down and killed women and children inside a church. April 19th, 1993. We will be covering that next week. We're purposely not planning a guest next week so we can take more phone calls, get the public involved. It will be immediately after our tax protest. Next week's show on Saturday after our protest on Wednesday. We want to cover that. Again, it's a Tea Party event, April 15th, noon to 5, downtown Statesville. Brian's number, 704-682-3921. If you need to get some more information, call Brian. Anyone would like to call in before we go off the air, let me give out our phone number one more time, 1-866-986-6397. And again, we're on the Liberty News Radio Network, libertynewsradio.com. So go ahead with some news, Brian. We'll see if we get some more phone calls before we go off. If you need some information on the protest, please join us, and please join in next week, and let's remember Waco, the atrocity that was committed by the federal government. The news media has whitewashed it. You don't hear any more about it. It needs to be remembered.
The hijacking of our movement and the next wave of Patriots. This is from the Daily Paul, Thursday, April 9, 2009. Like many of you, I get the sense that our movement is being hijacked. Over the last couple of years, as our members grew and our influence increased, I've often wondered how the establishment would try to take down our movement. Would they demonize the Patriots in the media like they did in the 90s? Would they try to infiltrate our movement and set up their own false leaders from within like they've done with other political movements? I've been waiting to see what the establishment would do because I knew the day would come. They can only ignore us for so long. Well, it appears they're taking another route by attempting to co-opt the movement. People locked into left-right politics and water down the message of liberty. I went to the Orlando Tea Party a few weeks ago. I was really encouraged to see thousands of people show up for the protest against the bailout and stimulus packages, although I came away from the event discouraged. It was essentially an Obama bash fest. Most of the people there were Republicans that seemed to have short memories. I guess they forgot it was their man, George Bush, that started all of this mess. They spoke of liberty and the Constitution, but what they didn't seem to know, Glenn Beck. We've all watched with suspicion the awakening of Glenn Beck. Is this a move by the establishment? Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, Michelle Malkin, and Newt Gingrich are now jumping on the Tea Party bandwagon. It seems apparent that this is a move by the right to hijack the message of liberty and steer it to a dead end. The more I ponder this move by the establishment, the more I come to realize that they are making a huge mistake. They are delivering millions of people into our hands. If Glenn Beck's message really is controlled, then they made a huge mistake by letting him bring up subjects like FEMA camps, globalism, the gold standard. As people look into these topics on their own, they awaken and start the strange journey down the rabbit hole. As they do independent research on the internet, they arrive at sites with links to other liberty sites. These are our websites. This is our message. There are thousands and thousands of liberty websites, thousands of YouTube videos, and thousands of liberty-minded folks on social networks. The establishment might own the airwaves, but we own the internet. The problem with trying to control the message of liberty is that you can't. Once you learn the message of liberty, your worldview completely changes. By simply studying the intent of the founders and what rights really are, you awaken to the fact that the left-right paradigm is false. You also start to quickly realize that the media is controlled. Once you are awake, you can never go back to sleep. The first big wave in our movement came back in the 80s and 90s. The second big wave came from the Ron Paul presidential run. That's how many of us got involved. Folks, like it or not, Glenn Beck's audience there are millions of people that are fed up with the government. They are awakening to the fact that the federal government can no longer represent them. These people are looking for answers. They're looking for something different.
That's excellent information. We're going to go to the phones, and I believe our first phone caller is Dave.
Yes. Yes.
How you doing today? Great. How about you, sir?
Good. I would suggest that if anybody can make that protest this coming Wednesday, that they should be there.
Yes, sir.
The government right now is attempting to get bigger and stronger, and the revenues are being hurt right now. So it's a pretty good bet that taxes, permit fees, speeding tickets, everything that they do is going to increase in volume and in price. We've got to show them that we're fed up and that it's gone too far.
Yes, sir. Our goal is to have the biggest protest states will see.
If anybody here thinks the property taxes are not a problem, all they've got to do is look at some of the northern states. Some of those states, property taxes are 4 or 5 higher than here. And I personally know several people that have kept up with their mortgage payments up there, but lost their houses because of property and school tax. I know several people this has happened to. So be warned that this can get out of control, and it should be nipped and repressed and pushed down before it gets out of control. That's all I have to say, guys. Thanks for the job you're doing down there, and I'm going to be there with my sign the 15th.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that, and we want to get as many people as we can to join us. We've got another phone call, and I certainly do appreciate you calling. Go ahead and say what you want to say, bro.
And for our listeners around the nation and around North Carolina, of course, these protests are everywhere, folks. Not just Statesville, North Carolina. There's hundreds and hundreds of tax day protests. Just look that up.
We've got another phone call. Brad, you're on the Real News. Brad, are you with us? Okay, if you'd like to call back, we've got just a few minutes. We'd like to get everyone on that would like to be on. Next week, we're going to have plenty of time for phone calls. We've since we started on the Liberty News Radio Network, we've had a few technical difficulties. We had 2 guests today that were great guests. We wanted to have them both on, but it limited our time taking phone calls. Next week, everyone call in, and again, April 15th, noon. Our goal, Brian, is to have the biggest protest Statesville has ever seen. We've got bullhorns. We want everyone to come and speak. Dave that just called, we want to give you a chance to speak. Al, Mike, Dave, Keith, Mitch, everyone that wants to join us, Ty, Jim. Jim's doing our camera work from home today because of some technical difficulties, but we're getting it all done. It'll be on our website, realnewsradio.com, and again, next week we will go into the Remember Waco. We've got about 3 minutes before we go
we were having some
off the air. We'll give everyone Brian's phone number again, and you can call him after 2 p.m. if there's any directions you need or information. We're going to have DVDs, magazines. We do need someone that's got a table that we can set stuff up on. If anyone wants to call and say they can help us with that.
Federal Reserve fiat notes.
Okay, we've got Brad back on the line. Brad, you're on the Real News.
When you say it.
Hey, Brian, this is Brad. Listen, guys, I appreciate what y'all are doing for us this Wednesday. I hope to be there if I can be in town. I'm looking to change my schedule now. But I just wanted to touch on the subject that we've brought up in the past, and it's the gun control issue. Right now, it seems like so many people have a point of view about gun control. We hear so much said about it, and so many different points. There's some confusion that goes on, though. People say gun control, then the next thing you hear them talk about is an assault rifle.
Around the country
assault rifle, to me, is an automatic weapon with multiple chambers around. Okay, that's a different gun than what most people actually are needing, carrying, and have for their own personal use for their home protection. It's a confusing subject. I don't really know the answer to try to say that, okay, let's ban one gun, let's not ban another. I think the problem is that people don't understand. One of the things that we need to emphasize more than gun control is training. There's so many things that are done by the government to train people in other ways
in an effort to make true changes for the sake of our children's future. Now, if you need to contact us, you can contact us at therealnewsradio.com, and you can call us at 704-902-1640. Brian, give your number.
704-682-3921.
For more information, if you call us today, call after 2 p.m. Now, there's a couple of things I want to give a little bit of information
if you start banning one gun and one ammunition,
this year the federal government is expected to spend $3.9 trillion. That's more than the total federal spending.
I appreciate you calling in to Virginia Fox on the show the other day, too. Join us. We've got about 45 seconds left, so we're going to close. I appreciate you calling. Look to, by request, I was asked to do this. Taxes, land taxes, wage taxes, bed